Now at 10, the Joplin School Board addresses a bus driver shortage. We'll tell you how they're trying to make it work. Plus, a local shoe store is closing its doors after decades in business. And high school students learn about censorship at the Banned Books Showcase at PSU.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
The Joplin School Board tonight takes action aimed at addressing a shortage of bus drivers. This is KOAM News at 10. We examine employee shortages in various fields through continuing reports we call Making It Work. Joplin schools have been experiencing a bus driver shortage since the school year began. Because of that, bus routes have been longer than expected, drop-off and pickup times have been inconsistent, and buses have been more crowded.
We combined our routes this year, which made some of them kind of at the limit of what we want. We want to be an hour or less. So some of those routes now are right at an hour, and if there's any delay at all, if a parent doesn't show up to receive their kindergarten first grade student, we have to take that student back to school. That makes them late for their next route.
Tonight, the Joplin School Board approved a pay raise for bus drivers and other incentives, including additional optional work days. They hope the changes will help improve bus driver recruitment. Checking in with Nick Kelly now for a first look at the weather.
It's been another quiet day, Dad, but changes are looming on the horizon, but don't see any just yet from our time-lapse of 7th and range line outside of Joplin. Make that live shot, that is. 62 was the low this morning, topping out at 86. No rain in the rain bucket yet, but signs of that are trying to return. You can see how we're starting to see some cloud cover pick up in northeastern parts of Oklahoma. That's ahead of a good band of rain and even some embedded storms in central, southern Oklahoma and down into Texas, all because of an upper level low spinning in the Rockies. But that is what's driving this excess of moisture, resulting in more cloud cover and rain chances. That's what's coming our way. For the overnight hours, though, we're starting off dry. Most of us in the lower to middle 70s still, but I still see us dropping back to about the upper 60s. Most of us around 68 degrees. Can't rule out some of that moisture rolling in, giving us a stray shower or two in the morning, but the rain chances will be on the increase tomorrow, Dow, and that will send the highs back to 83. We'll see how long these rain chances will stick with us in the forecast a little later on.
Catch you then. Pitt State is exploring the topic of censorship during this Banned Books Week. The university today hosted a conference for area high school students covering the topic of books that have been banned or challenged in high schools around the nation. The guest speaker was author Chris Crutcher, whose books for young people have been banned in some places. Crutcher says that while some people might find certain books offensive, kids should read them with their parents as an opening to discuss difficult or embarrassing subjects. A Banned Books exhibit is free and open to the public in the Bicknell Center Art Gallery. Labette Community College criminal justice students got a hands-on lesson investigating a crime scene, a mock crime scene in this case. Parsons Police Chief Robert Spink set up the scene. He says it gives the students a chance to work through the investigation process.
Having like a crime scene of this, it's just amazing. Like being able to go out there and process the scene with professionals and learning about it is really cool.
The mock crime scene was set up near the Parsons Police Department. A couple of stores that have been staples in the Nevada community for more than half a century are closing their doors. The owners of Davison's Shoes and Verco Sporting Goods announced they're retiring and closing up shop after 64 years in business. Businesses are now running liquidation sales to get rid of their remaining inventory.
Because we tried to stay just a little better quality than what Walmart carried and things that they couldn't get there.
And give service. Service is the most important thing. We had people drive here to get corrective shoes for miles.
Two businesses are in a shared storefront on the Nevada Square. Thousands tonight gathered in Wichita to honor Father Kapan. He's laid in his final resting place. Kapan died in the Korean War. His remains were buried with a group of 866 other unknowns at the National Memorial Cemetery of the Pacific in Honolulu until 2018. Reporter Lily Wu spoke with area veterans about Father Kapan's legacy.
For some who served in the military, Father Emil Capon is a symbol of hope. For U.S. Navy veteran John Kane, he's a symbol of heroism.
He gave them hope and kept their hope up that they would get out of it. And in doing that, undoubtedly, probably saved a lot of lives.
Kane leads the VFW post in Winfield. He also joined the church group Capen's Men to study the life and ministry of Father Capon.
I learned that he's a great man. He was probably one of the most caring people for his fellow man that I have ever heard and read about.
Father Capon died as a prisoner of war in 1951. It took 70 years before his remains were identified.
He wasn't buried in a mass grave, he was buried alone. And one of the most fascinating things about it, which I call it a miracle, when they recovered his remains, they recovered over about 95% of his remains intact. And that is just fascinating.
Since 1995, the KoreanWar.org website has been connecting thousands of veterans, and they've been following Father Capon's story.
There are still 155 men missing in the state of Kansas alone. It gives hope to the families that a man such as Father Capon gave solace to their family members who may have died in POW camp and may never be found. And for the men who survived, he touched their lives and gave them resolve to survive 2 more horrible years as POWs.
Veterans hoping other POWs and MIAs may someday return home like Father Capon.
Take time now to honor a local veteran. Corporal Fred Deffenbaugh served in the U.S. Army. His hometown, Stark, Kansas. And we are proud to salute Corporal Fred Deffenbaugh. He's tonight's 4-state hero. Still ahead, a plea from a Missouri couple arrested for their role in the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol. And plans to get young children vaccinated against COVID took a step forward today. We'll have the latest. Southwest Missouri prosecutor is charging 5 employees of a private Christian boarding school with abusing students. Cedar County prosecuting attorney Ty Gaither announced that the 5 Agape boarding school employees will be charged with a total of 13 third-degree felony assault counts. The Missouri Attorney General's office had recommended prosecuting 22 staffers of the school near Stockton with 65 counts on behalf of 36 victims. Attorney General Eric Schmidt asked Governor Mike Parson to take his office off the case last week, saying Gaither didn't plan to seek justice for all the students who say they were abused. A Missouri couple have pleaded guilty for their roles in the riot at the U.S. Capitol in January. 30-year-old Kelsey Wilson and 32-year-old Zachary Wilson, both of Springfield, each pled guilty in federal court to a misdemeanor count of knowingly entering or remaining in a restricted building. Kelsey Wilson was arrested in August on that charge. Her husband was arrested in February. Both face up to 6 months in prison and a $5,000 fine when they're sentenced on December 10th. Court records indicate Kelsey Wilson was a new first-grade teacher at Day Spring Christian School in Springfield at the time of her arrest. The school says she is no longer employed there. Pfizer today took another major step toward getting its coronavirus vaccine approved for kids under 12. The shots could be authorized within weeks. Naomi Ruckham reports from New York.
Pfizer has submitted research to the FDA in support of giving its COVID-19 vaccine to children. It tested a lower dose version of the vaccine on kids between 5 and 11 years old, but says their response was as strong as for teenagers who received a standard dose. The drug maker says it will ask for an emergency use authorization in the coming weeks.
Tomorrow, we will hit an important milestone: 200 million adults with at least 1 shot.
The news came amid word that progress has been made in closing the racial and ethnic divide over the vaccines. A Kaiser Family Foundation survey found 73% of Hispanic adults in the U.S. said they are vaccinated. That's compared to 70% of Black adults and 71% of white adults.
There were many reasons for this gap, including barriers to vaccine access, and some still had concerns, and those concerns were often rooted in misinformation.
A federal court says New York City can fire school employees who refuse to get vaccinated. They now have until 5 p.m. Friday to comply.
We're here to protect your rights, but at the same time, we follow the law.
Basketball star LeBron James says he got the shots after initially having doubts about the vaccines.
But after doing my research and things of that nature, I felt like it was best suited for not only me, but for my family and for my friends.
The NBA says about 90% of its players have been vaccinated, despite no league requirement for doing so. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News.
The White House says that by tomorrow night, more than 200 million American adults will have received at least one dose of a COVID vaccine. The Secretary of Defense and top military leaders today testified publicly for the first time since the chaotic withdrawal from Afghanistan. The Pentagon leaders defended the decision to leave at the end of August, saying staying longer would have put U.S. personnel at greater risk. But Generals Mark Milley and Frank McKenzie testified they advised both former President Trump and President Biden that the military should have kept a presence on the ground. North Korea fired a short-range missile into the Sea of Japan today at nearly the same time its UN diplomat was condemning America's, quote, hostile policy against the country. The launch is the third this month and came just days after the North offered conditional peace talks with South Korea. The latest tests highlight the North's ability to strike U.S. bases in the region, home to 80,000 U.S. troops. Later, Webb City softball welcomes Neosho on the Cardinals' new home turf.
But first, be ready for rain chances to kick back into gear tomorrow. We'll see how long they'll last coming up. It was nice that we kept things quiet for this Tuesday afternoon, but changes, they are ready to roll on in. So let's not waste any time. Let's dig right into the forecast. Starting with where we've been throughout the day. A nice time lapse from Indigo Sky outside of Seneca, Missouri showed how the entire area fared. Partly to mostly sunny skies just passing throughout the course of the day. Hardly any threatening skies whatsoever. And even with that, temperatures trended, actually, that's a hair cooler compared to yesterday's high around 87 or 88 degrees. We started out in the lower to middle 60s this morning, topping back out around 86, 87 degrees, and these numbers will continue to drop as rain chances, some of you which you're certainly asking for, they are ready to roll back in. But we're looking quiet right now at 7th and Range Line, 73 in Joplin. East breeze almost pushing 10 miles per hour, but that humidity is starting to climb back up now, 61% after seeing that number quite low throughout the past several days at the very least. We already have a few upper 60s popping up around Stockton Lake, but most of us are still holding on near 70 to about 74 degrees. But these numbers will drop back into the mid to upper 60s. I'm thinking more upper 60s for most. As we continue to see increasing cloud cover work in from central Oklahoma in the green country. That is ahead of a good band of rain, and even some thunderstorms working from Oklahoma City down south along 35 into central parts of Texas. That's not being driven by anything at the surface, though. I do want to point out, though, at the surface, we still have this cold front out in the Rockies. That starts coming into play as we head toward the weekend. In the short term, though, we're saying goodbye to this upper level ridge that kept us quite warm for the past few days, including today. And this upper level low in Denver, that's what's coming into play. That's what's driving in the cloud cover from the southwest. And that's what's going to bring rain chances back in our direction. Let's see how soon they'll return with your future track forecast up close, right on top of home. I think we're dry throughout much of the overnight, but by 6:30 you can see the future track hinting at some isolated showers wanting to develop, so something to keep in mind as you make your way back to work and school. Doesn't change the fact that we all start mild, though, most of us around 68 degrees. As the upper level wave continues to work on by, the rain chances will do nothing but pick up throughout the course of the day. So we'll have this result in scattered thunderstorms. Not looking at anything severe, but certainly can't rule out some rainfall, trying to have an impact on any potential outdoor plans that you have. If there's one good thing about the rain chances and the cloud cover increasing, though, it's going to continue to send temperatures downward. 68 in the morning, 79 by noon, afternoon highs with a light southeast breeze. We're at around 83 degrees. I think we'll hold on to some rain chances tomorrow night, maybe a break by Thursday morning, but as long as the setup stays active, we'll hold on to these rain chances as we head into Thursday. And not only that, another upper wave comes at us from the southwest, and with that front out west working into the central plains by the start of the weekend, look at the rain chances sticking with us. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and before we get a chance to dry things out a little bit by Monday. So still looking at any rainfall projections Planner doesn't want to work, so we'll just go ahead and say anywhere from ½ an inch to 1.5 inches of rain, potentially by Sunday. And if any heavy rain can develop, maybe we'll have to adjust amounts upward a little bit. So plenty of rain chances in the forecast, but it helps us out with temperatures. 83 tomorrow, 81 on Thursday, upper 70s for highs through the weekend out with some dry time thrown in the mix. And looking good for Monday. Partly sunny and highs are 76.
A lot of us would like to see at least a bit of rain in the coming days.
I think we're going to cash in on that at least over the next several days.
Sounds good. Thanks, Nick. Hey, this is National Good Neighbor Day and a perfect time for this Instapoll question. How friendly is your neighborhood? Very friendly, very unfriendly, or maybe somewhere in between? You can give your answer on a sliding scale. To participate, go to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote or through the KOAM News app. Vote right now. We're going to check in on the results, the final results, a little bit later in this newscast. Joplin residents are getting ready to raise awareness and funds for Alzheimer's care and research. On Saturday, Joplin will host the Alzheimer's Association Walk to End Alzheimer's. The event will kick off with the Promise Garden ceremony to represent solidarity in the fight against the disease. One of the participants is a Joplin High School student who hopes to raise awareness among kids his age about the disease.
And in addition to fundraising and donating, I primarily seek to raise Alzheimer's awareness amongst the youth in my community, because I believe that to envision a day where there is no Alzheimer's or the dementia, it is important for the youth of today to understand this disease and advocate for it as well.
Good for him. That walk starts at Mercy Park at 10:15 Saturday morning. Registration begins at 8:30. Coming up in sports, the Webb City softball team faces Neosho in their first game on their brand new turf field. Plus, Pitt State volleyball hits the court against Newman, aiming to stay undefeated at home. Jacob Leonard has that and more next.
The Neosho Wildcats have won 5 of their last 7 games. The last time out, the Wildcats erupted for 19 runs in a 19-4 win over Branson last week. And Neosho aims to stay rolling today at Webb City. That's a big day for the Cardinals, playing for their first time this season on their brand new turf field. Scoreless in the second until Ripley Shanks. A little pop-up gets down to score Emma Welch. Cards up 1 going to the third. At the top of the third, Lily Grau rips this one in the gap for Neosho. Leadoff double. Eventually, though, she would be stranded at third. Now, the third inning was a big one for Webb City. Kaylin Gilbert drops it into center. Peyton Hawkins trots home. Cardinals get 4 in the third to go up 5. And then in the fourth, Hannah Wells yanks one into left. That'll score Morgan Brannon. Webb City cruises from there. Cardinals finish it off in 5, 10-0. The Joplin Eagles also at home today for a COC matchup against Carl Junction. Joplin wins that one big, 11-1. The Eagles have now won back-to-back games and will try to make it 3 in a row on Thursday against Willard. The Pittsburgh State volleyball team is off to a 2-2 start to conference play. The Gorillas are 8-4 to begin the season. After 2 on the road, Pitt State is back at home tonight facing the Newman Jets. The Gorillas have been great at home so far, going 5-0 at John Lance Arena. First set, Hope White doing what she does. 4 kills in the first. Finishes with a team-high 10. Moments later, Jaden Sanford ends the first set there. Gorillas win that one 25-15. Hannah Martin, really good in the second set. Blows that one by everybody. Then Martin again. Too hot to handle for Newman. Martin gets 4 kills in the second. 8 total on the evening. Senior Meg Otten, I'm a big fan of how she tries to hurt people when she puts it down. 7 kills for Otten this evening. Gorillas win in 3. They're now 6-0 at home this season.
Everybody loves to be at home, and you know, we're fixing to go on a 5-game road streak here, so we're going to take every opportunity we can to play well at home. And one of our team's goals was to win the home matches and go undefeated at home, and I think they're just proud to play in front of their home fans, and there's just something about being in this arena and playing in front of everybody that they just really step up and play well.
Missouri Southern volleyball also in action tonight against Central Oklahoma. It's the first match for Southern since last Tuesday after the last 2 matches were postponed. Now the Lions fall tonight 3-1 despite a career-high 20 kills from Armini Perales. Now Southern is back at it on Friday, hosting a non-conference matchup against William Jewell. The St. Louis Cardinals' magic number is down to just 1 coming into the day. The Cards just need 1 win to clinch the second wild card spot in the National League and earn their spot in the playoffs. The St. Louis opens up a 3-game series tonight at home against the Brewers. In the first inning, Christian Yelich, check it out, hustles to make the nice diving grab, robs Nolan Arenado of a hit. Game still scoreless. In the fourth, Luis Urias drills a 2-run homer off Adam Wainwright. Milwaukee has the game's first 2 runs, 2-0 lead. However, Dylan Carlson, bottom half solo home run, his 16th. Cards cut the lead to just 1. Later on in the inning, Wainwright working at the dish. Check it out, perfect bunt here from the pitcher. Harrison Bader scores to tie it up. Cards come back to win 6-2, and with that, they earn the second wild card spot in the National League playoffs. As for the Royals, they open up the final week of the season against Cleveland. Game 1 tonight, Royals lead 6-4 in the 8th. Salvador Perez 2 for 3 with a solo home run, his 47th, just 1 away from the franchise single-season home run record. That's it for sports. We're back with more news after this.
This is National Good Neighbor Day, as we told you. Perfect time for this Insta poll question. How friendly is your neighborhood? And most of you saying pretty friendly. Hope the feeling is mutual. This poll is now closed. Thank you for participating. The weather, pretty friendly at the moment. Some rain chances moving in, though.
Yeah, rain chances we could certainly use, and I think some could start as early as tomorrow morning, but definitely picking up during the day tomorrow. Highs are 83. And thankfully, these rain chances, even though we got to deal with them this weekend, will knock us back near 80 by the weekend.
Final sports note.
It's rivalry weekend for Pitt State and Missouri Southern football. On Saturday, they play. We'll hear from the Missouri Southern Lions right here tomorrow night.
Very good. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget our morning show, and let's make it a great tomorrow.